Somewhere on your path, perhaps after a profound glimpse of truth or a life-shattering crisis, something fundamental fractured. You saw through the game, the frantic noise, the carefully constructed identity, and in its place, a vast, unnerving silence descended. At first, this silence felt like freedom, power even. But then quietly, without any grand announcement, the meaning began to drain away. It was as if the universe turned the color down on your life and simply walked away. You stopped striving. You stopped wanting. Not with bitterness or anger, but with a deep, quiet resignation. The ambitions that once fueled you now seemed like relics from another person's life. And a question began to echo in the emptiness. Why, after seeing so clearly, do I feel so completely numb? This is the great paradox of awakening. We are told it will fill us with light and purpose, yet for so many, the deep feelers, the old souls, the ones who question everything, it does the exact opposite. It hollows us out. I recall a friend deeply intelligent and spiritually curious, who dove headfirst into the wisdom of the ages. After a brutal dark night of the soul, she finally broke through. "I get it," she told me. "I see the illusion of the ego, the chase for things that were never me." Yet a few months later, she was a ghost in her own life, struggling to find a reason to leave her bed. Her words still haunt me. "I thought awakening was supposed to be a fire." For me, it was an extinction. The pioneering psychologist Carl Jung foresaw this spiritual twilight decades ago. He didn't use modern buzzwords, but he understood the seismic shock that occurs when the hidden depths of the psyche are brought into the light. Jung famously wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That line sounds poetic until you are the one living it. Awakening is not a destination, it is a demolition. It is the beginning of the end of the person you pretended to be. The entire architecture of your life, your goals, your identity, your relationships, your very sense of self, begins to crumble. But here is the crucial distinction Jung would make. Your ego isn't destroyed, it's just lost. Its map has been rendered useless, and without a map, the engine of motivation sputters and dies. You are not lazy or broken. You are simply in limbo. You've woken up from the dream, but you have not yet learned how to live in reality. And this is where the journey becomes profoundly misunderstood. This state you're in, this hollow ache, this lack of drive, is not a psychological failure. It is not in its essence clinical depression or anxiety. It is an ancient, sacred, and necessary state of being. Jung argued that our modern world, with its obsession with constant progress and productivity, teaches us to fear and avoid this phase at all costs. This sacred void, this in-between. He believed this emptiness was the most fertile ground for becoming who we were truly meant to be. But nobody tells you that part, do they? They don't tell you that this loss of motivation might be the most profound spiritual upgrade you will ever experience, if you learn to navigate it correctly. For most of your life, your motivation was an external contract. It was fueled by the ego, that part of you that desperately needed to prove its worth, to be seen, to be validated, to win. Jung called this the persona, the social mask we craft to survive and succeed in the world. The awakening process doesn't just damage the mask, it obliterates it. And suddenly the game of seeking approval holds no appeal because you see the game itself is rigged. This is the source of the crisis. Your old goals were tailored for the mask, not for your soul. Now you stand like an actor who has walked off the stage mid-performance, suddenly realizing you never knew your own lines. Only the script you were given. You haven't lost your drive. You have simply outgrown the fuel source that powered your old life. Jung's entire life's work pointed to a single powerful idea. We are not here to serve the ego. We are here to integrate it into service of something far greater, a transcendent center he called the self. This is the soul's core, the part of you that is connected to everything. And the self has a completely different agenda. It doesn't care about your social status, your follower count, or your 5-year plan. The self is here for one reason: to express its unique truth through you. Once you awaken, your entire system begins a radical recalibration. It starts to fiercely reject anything inauthentic, anything forced, anything that serves the ego's old agenda. This is why you may feel a sudden, inexplicable aversion to your job, your social life, even ambitions you've held for years. It is both liberating and terrifying, but Jung warned of a trap here. Some awaken to this point and fall into a state of spiritual bypassing. They convince themselves that since nothing matters, they should do nothing. They confuse enlightened detachment with profound disengagement. But the self does not want to escape the world. It wants to incarnate within it. It wants to build, create, and love, not from a place of need, but from a place of wholeness. To do that, you must first pass through a stage that few have the courage to name. It doesn't look like meditating on a beach. It looks like sitting in a quiet room feeling nothing, while the world screams at you to be productive. In Jungian terms, you are not lost. You are in the cocoon. You have dissolved the old form of the caterpillar, but you have not yet become the butterfly. You are the primordial soup in between. And primordial soup does not have a to-do list. It has only one job: to surrender to the transformation. This is where the ego panics, but the self whispers, "Be still. I am rebuilding you from the inside out." This sacred emptiness is the real work. Your psyche has wisely shut down your old motivation system, forcing you to stop, listen, and integrate the truths you've long abandoned. You are not procrastinating. You are metabolizing your soul. And here is the secret: surrender to the void. The moment you stop fighting it, a new motivation begins to stir. It's not the frantic push of the ego, but the quiet, gravitational pull of your true self, an inner compass coming online. Life shifts from achieving to aligning. Ambition is no longer about proving, but about expressing. You're no longer driven by fear, but guided by a deep resonance of what feels true. This new fuel isn't adrenaline, it's authenticity. You begin to follow your curiosity over a checklist, choosing what feels honest over what looks impressive. So if you feel like your fire has gone out after your awakening, take heart. The old fragile flame had to die. It was burning fuel that was never truly yours. You are making way for a deeper fire, a central sun that cannot be extinguished by the winds of external opinion or circumstance. Carl Jung never promised an easy journey, only a meaningful one. It's not about getting your old motivation back. It's about finally discovering the one that has been waiting for you your entire life. This isn't the end of your purpose. It is the beginning of your reality.